Hello, everyone, and welcome to a bonus segment of the Brothers Take podcast. This is a space where we can talk about things that maybe aren't in our current episodes plan, but stuff that we would still have an interest in or want to talk about on the podcast. So we are currently in the middle of doing our Final Fantasy VII Rebirth spoiler cast. So it didn't feel right to add this stuff in there, but these are things that we would have normally talked about on a podcast. So we're given a little space for that in this bonus. So my name is Chris. I'm joined by my brothers Adam and Eric.
Hello.
Hello.
And we are back in the room this week to give our take on some movie stuff that we definitely would have been talking about in general anyway. One of them, which would be one of our more anticipated movies, I think. I didn't realize it was coming this year.
See,
But
I
there
did.
was yeah, you knew.
You were
I'm like,
chimed in.
the fuck is this trailer? Like, it's due this year. Where is this trailer?
Right. You were waiting for this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
Come
is
on, mother,
for anyone who
give us
doesn't
this
know,
trailer.
this is a teaser trailer for Alien Romulus, obviously the next movie in the Alien franchise. What did you guys think of the teaser trailer?
Yeah, I actually didn't realize it was a movie. I for some reason I thought it was a TV show. I don't know why.
There's one of them in the
Um,
works too, which is probably
Oh, okay.
what got you
That's-
thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
thought it was. I thought this was the TV show because I thought there was a TV show, and then that kind of seems to be the thing nowadays. Everything's a TV show. But with this one, I like that they're keeping that old. I think the first shot we see is the hallway. It's
Yeah.
like the camera's pulling through a hallway, and it looks very like the fucking Nostromo style hallway. So they're keeping that old 1970s, 1980s aesthetic, which is really nice. And then it just starts to go into the pods, and the pods look the exact same as the first Alien movie. And then you see all the blood, and you're like, okay, so they're not shying away. This is graphic. And then it just kind of keeps going from there. I liked this trailer because it's exactly doing what it says. It's teasing you of things, and it even slightly teases Alien at the end.
They should just leave it at that now. Just
Yeah,
That's
don't
it.
need anything else.
I was just gonna say I'm not gonna watch another trailer.
near my.
I'm gonna
Well,
and
I'll try.
I always do watch trailers, but actually for this I'm gonna not watch another trailer, and I'm gonna go to the cinema to see it.
Yeah.
That's my plan. It is coming to cinema, right? It's not gonna be one of those Hulu
yeah.
releases or something.
No,
Because
it's-
you remember, like Prey
Yeah.
didn't come to cinema and absolutely should have.
Mm.
It was
Was
incredible.
that to do, I'm trying to think, but did Prey come out around pandemic time?
No, it was kind of after that, wasn't it?
Was it? But were we fully recovered as a world from it?
Maybe not fully. So maybe that's why. Adam, what did you think of the trailer then?
Dope. I'm trying to think back to some of the. Obviously, it's the score in it is so reminiscent of the trailer to the very first Alien, and the trailer to Covenant. I think has
Covenant
that,
had that as well.
has
yeah.
that as well. But it's not the same one. It's just like it's hinting at it. It's very similar, but it's not the bang on. And I'm trying to think back to what the first Alien trailer was. It just felt very similar to it, and it's like this mirror image where I with the first Alien movie at least, you're having that full kind of ghost ship. The camera's moving forward through the ship, and here the camera's moving back away from the ship. Like the camera movement is in the reverse of it, which I think is really a nice play. And obviously, yes, the lighting, the set, very much in line with the first Alien than it is Aliens, so I'm excited about that. But then we do have all these additional face huggers, so that kind of indicates there's probably going to be maybe more than one xenomorph.
Yeah, it looks like it was because actually, I think even before you're on the ship, the trailer starts with another ship heading to what I'm assuming is the space station Romulus. So yes, I think
I really hope that it doesn't have to be a follow-up to Covenant, but I hope it's not like a complete disregard of what came before.
Yeah, let's not just ignore.
Yeah.
Like pretend they didn't happen. I'm sure they won't. I
Well,
thought I read
Ridley-
somewhere that this is based between Alien 1 and 2.
It is.
So I wonder I wonder if that's just a time period or is that relevant? Like, will there be some sort of direct reference that it's like it makes sense to tell a story in that time period, or is it just so you know in the time frame of the Alien franchise this is where it is? You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
If anything, it's got to be
curious.
like, I suppose, isolation in that regard. It's
Yeah.
Mm.
it's a movie version of isolation, I would say.
Hmm.
It'd be cool to deal with some of the other kind of aspects of the galaxy, I suppose. Because when it comes to the Alien franchise, you really just have Weyland Yutani seems to control everything. So it'd be nice to almost introduce a sort of the corporate war in the galaxy almost. That makes sense.
It
So it's
does.
like so
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'd
don't
be
know if it.
careful though,
Yeah.
about expanding the universe too much in terms of
well
that's
it's just
all.
essentially you have the space station, but it's not owned by Weyland Yutani.
Yeah, right. I get. Yeah, so like, there's a way where you can do it where it's like there are other bodies and other agencies in the universe, but
Right.
yeah, I still think like keep the story small.
Yeah.
Don't go
Oh
too
yeah, yeah.
big with the story because you can lose grips with the tone. Then,
Yeah.
what I liked about this teaser trailer was it looks like a horror movie.
Yes.
So for me, it's right in tone with the original Alien movie, and that's more what I'm into. And what I liked about Alien Covenant, for example, and not everyone liked Alien Covenant, and certainly like the xenomorph sequences in Alien Covenant were probably the worst part of the movie, actually.
Yeah.
Um, but in tone, that movie captured for me a sense of dread and horror, and like the backburster sequence is incredible. Like the entire lead up to it, the music, the pacing of it is just like edge of your seat kind of stuff, and that's what I want from the Alien franchise. More that and less like action sci-fi, which is kind of more like your Alien Resurrection or whatever. So yeah, this trailer kind of hit the right marks for me, and I hope that that is actually the tone of the movie. But I'm sure that if that's the way they're presenting it, then that is actually the intention. That it's a horror movie in space. You're stuck on this space station and try and survive.
Yeah.
That's really what I want. And then some thematic, interesting things. Like maybe the characters themselves having their own individual problems or gripes or something like that, and that can make it interesting. But what I don't need actually is like a deeper alien lore. I don't
No. Yeah.
personally need that actually for this movie.
Yeah, and
As
I
it
doubt we're going to. I doubt it's going to delve into that at all. Actually, I did a second watch through, and I just kind of paused at moments just to kind of see what the crack is. And there's one of the characters in it. I just based on the way it's shot and almost the way he was acting in that moment, I'm like, there's our android. I bet. Or they're going to do a
Oh,
thing where
interesting.
it's going to be, at least it'll make you think that's the android. Because I always think the hard element of Alien in general is actually the people that you trust the most. That's what's scary about Alien, I think. I mean, this
Hmm.
other organism that you can't control, yeah, that's terrifying, of course, but that could literally be anything.
Yeah.
Anything could be out to get you. It's the people that you trust. That's like the company and the orders that they set, especially with the AI and
Well, I
robots.
remember like someone explained it well, where they're like Alien One, and what works so well about it is it's Jaws in space,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
And it's like even in Jaws, it doesn't have to be a shark. It doesn't really matter what's killing them. The thing that makes that movie so good is the way the people are behaving and the tensions. And similarly, you kind of have like, the mayor of the town, the politicians sort of making these decisions that are at the detriment of the normal people, and
Mm-hmm.
and there's political agendas and all that kind of stuff going on. And like Alien works in a very similar way, where it's like it doesn't actually matter what's killing them. Like it turns out it's one of the coolest creatures ever created, and it looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Um, but that's not important. The situation is important, and the characters and the motivations are what's important. So I think if we can nail that again, This could be right up there with one of the better Alien movies. Again, we've only seen a teaser, but it looks promising.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of yeah. I hope this is good.
I know.
I think with the thing with the Alien movies, as much as I love them, I think the final act in all of them is actually not great.
Mm-hmm.
In any of them actually, and I'd say except for, oddly enough, I think the third act of Alien 3 is actually the strongest in the entire franchise, as far as the final act goes. The rest of the movie, not so much. So I think that's just the curse of all horror movies. I don't think any horror movie has a really good third act. Really, Saw maybe.
It's hard to do a final strong act in a horror movie, because it's like if the hero turns the tide, then it does usually turn into kind of an action film by the end. By the time you see the monster and understand the monster, usually the dread goes away. I think The Ritual does a really good third act for the most part. That's a
Yes.
incredible horror movie. I cannot recommend that enough.
That is a very good third act, because even when you find out what the creature is, the main guy doesn't get the shotgun and then starts blasting everyone. The main guy kind of, is still in a situation where he could die at any stage. You know what I mean? Like it's so even
It's
when you
also
figure
such an interesting design that you can't stop looking at it, and you want to see more of it. But it is also just it's one of the most interesting creature designs I've ever seen. It's just like, I cannot look away from this thing, and I'm trying to figure this thing out. And who the fuck came up with this?
it's a bit like
fascinating.
Alien. It's like Alien is such an interesting, cool,
Yeah,
unique, iconic design. When you see Alien's design, you know what it is. I think with the creature in Ritual is the same as well. That's also why Predator is so iconic, because you see Predator silhouette, you know that that's Predator.
yeah.
What do you think of how sporadic the facehuggers appeared in this?
I was actually just about to bring up the facehuggers. At first I was a bit like, oh, that's weird. They're moving so fast. And I was like, oh, but they do that though, don't they? Like
Yeah.
they are supposed to move that fast. We just never really got that.
The
in
technology
movies.
now allows them to be what they intended to be. But I do think there's still a beauty in the puppetry. Not that I think they should be puppets, but do you know there's been, I'm trying to think of the films now, but there's been like this resurgence in almost mimicking puppetry through CGI. And I wonder if they could have try and blend the two a little bit. I think maybe they're moving. Maybe it's just because we haven't actually seen them move this quick before that it just felt a little off.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
But
It's an interesting one.
It's a terrifying idea, because it's flesh colored hand spiders
Yeah.
running to wrap onto your face.
Yeah, I think
horrifying.
that no matter what, like from a visual perspective, one might look better than the other, but it works kind of either way, because no matter what way you do it, a facehugger is just the most terrifying thing.
The shot
'Cause, like,
actually.
if it's slow, it's like this slow doom that takes you, and then if it's fast, it's like you can't outrun this. So you're fucked. It's gonna get you.
I think that's
that's
quite
kind of scary too.
In here, I think this is maybe normally when you see the facehuggers mid-air, it's kind of a slow-mo shot a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not always a slow motion, but it's almost like you can
AVP, baby.
You can see it coming towards you nearly.
Yeah.
Here,
That, or it's
here
really quick to like a cut black.
A cut.
Yeah, so it's usually
The bit that
cut
they showed
jump
here
is-
in the trailer, the slow mo bit, which was the facehuggers appendage, let's say, going down the person's throat.
Yeah,
That was, like when
actually
when I seen that, the blood splatter, and it's like, I think this director,
this is gonna be
so
fucking
far,
gross.
I think so. I think they understood the brief really.
Yeah. That moment of the was it going in or coming out? But either way, it was the facehugger's tube going into the throat. Reminded me of that shot from Event Horizon. You remember watching that infamous scene And there's a
Mm-hmm.
bit in Event Horizon where someone is pulling their hand out of someone else's
Oh yeah,
throat, and
yeah,
all the
yeah,
stuff is. It
yeah.
reminded me of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
if they also take a page out of Event Horizon, I'm
Yeah.
gonna run out of the cinema because that was gross.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
in space, no one can hear you in space. But we do want to hear you guys. What do you think of the trailer, the teaser trailer for Alien Romulus? And are you excited for a new movie in the Alien franchise? Are you as hyped for the tone as we are? Or are you more of a space marines killing aliens type person, which you very well could be? Let us know your own thoughts, either down in the comments if you watch this YouTube, or get in touch on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take to share your take on Alien Romulus. This is definitely one that when it comes out later in the year, we'll see it. We have to do a review on this one. That will be an episode. So bear that in mind, everyone. Do we have a release date? Did I ask you that already?
I think it said, did it say May?
May? Oh, that's fucking really
just,
close.
maybe not. Just maybe double check that.
Someone,
this year anyway, for sure. We'll double check and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, in other movie news, it's been heavily suggested or reported that Mr. Aaron Taylor Johnson has been offered the role of James Bond 007. Now, this is something that we got to talk about because we're Bond fans, have been our whole lives, and we also have a great I think it's one of our best episodes. But we have a great episode where we did a ranking of the current 25 James Bond movies, which was a lot of fun, and we got to find out on the recording where each one ranked and where they placed, and it's definitely the of all the videos that we have on YouTube, it is the one that has got the most engagement from people. Mostly pissed off, I think, at the placement of Thunderball and For Your Eyes Only.
Very divisive.
We won't tell you where they are. You got to check it out for yourself. The Brothers Take James Bond ranked. Have a look at it. But with that in mind, and we really are big James Bond fans, what do you guys think of this this news? This isn't confirmed or anything. It doesn't mean he's doing the role, but apparently he has been offered it.
Yeah,
what do you think,
this
Eric?
like a rumor that got out of hand?
At first it was. I heard this a while back that it's like, oh, he's been thought of for James Bond or something like that. What they're saying now is that they've actually offered it.
Yeah.
We don't know this for a fact or not, but if it is true, Eric, what do you think?
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be too annoyed at him getting it. Again, I think when we were initially talking about, as Adam stated, he's fantastic in Outlaw King. He's really good in Outlaw King, and from some of the scenes I saw.
What? Sorry, the way you said that,
Outlaw King.
Outlaw King. Sorry,
Outlaw King.
I didn't know what you said.
Sorry. Right, it's a Netflix movie, Outlaw King. He plays a Scottish lord. He plays a bit of a psycho in it. Fucking brilliant. And I've seen some scenes of Bullet Train, I think it's called, and he's in it as well. And he's wearing a suit, and he's got this kind of charisma to him.
He's got the riz.
He's got the riz, and he's using the English accent. You can kind of see a little bit like, okay, because he has a viciousness to his fighting, while also being able to cool composure. So that's very James Bondy. If he got it, I wouldn't be too disappointed. I mean, the guys behind it, they tend to do very good choices most of the time when they are choosing Bond. So they're like, again, with like Daniel Craig, like they saw something that no one else saw, and then Daniel Craig,
nobody saw it.
No, and then Daniel Craig blew it out of the water. Like, so I have what
For us at least.
Well, there is a lot of people, not everyone, but there's a lot of people who would say Daniel Craig is the best Bond.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that have that opinion. He was excellent in the role. He really was. And he made it his own. And I think each actor has, whether you're, look, everyone has their favorite Bond. But, like, whether you're a Roger Moore fan or a Pierce Brosnan fan or a Sean Connery fan or a Timothy Dalton, they've all put their own stamp on it. And I'd say bar George Lazenby, and no disrespect to George Lazenby, but back then the casting was slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a different process, and he was the first one to take over after Connery. They hadn't really figured out how they would do that transition yet. But bar him, Like they've been very careful about who they select.
Who was involved actually? So the current producers, Barbara and forgot the other guy's name.
Yeah, I always think of Barbara
Yeah, I always
Broccoli. I think she's the one that kind of picked Craig.
Yeah,
she was really
when did
in
they
his corner.
when did they take over when it came to producing and casting or at least having a say in that?
If I remember correctly, I think her father was the original producer.
Yeah.
And it passed on to her.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think when she took over.
Is her name not in GoldenEye?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I think they. Yeah, I'm trying to think how far back did they go.
Oh, right.
I think she's Brosnan onwards.
Brosnan
before
onwards,
her.
okay.
That's what I think. I'm not certain on
Not
that.
Dalton then.
I don't think so.
Because if so, then yeah, they've had one hell of a streak.
Yeah, like look at I think that's my outlook on it. Actually, is that whoever they pick,
Yeah.
they've seen something that we haven't, and they always screen test too. They don't just like they get them in a room, they put them in a suit, they give them a bit of a script, and they screen test, and they're very careful with this franchise, like more so than I think people give them credit for. I think a lot of people look at James Bond as sort of just like a popcorn flick, and it's like they're actually like really careful with the whole series.
Yeah. And honestly,
so,
none of them. I'm trying to think now before I say that. But yeah, I think I'm right. I don't think any of them have a bad first movie.
No, true. It's usually their best.
It's actually their best, yeah.
Usually.
I mean, Connery can be debatable, but
it is the the first one that this new actor's coming into, so I suppose they have to try strike gold to sell it to everyone else.
Yeah,
this actor is good.
They usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a few things became clear to me if this news is true. And it was, okay, Nolan is probably not directing this then.
Yeah.
Because I think his condition was, if I'm directing, I'm also casting. So I think if we ever got a Nolan Bond movie, the first bit of news we would get is Nolan is directing Bond, not who's playing Bond. You know what I mean? So I think that's the way that would go. So I think he's probably not. It probably didn't line up with what they have.
And to be honest, I look as much as I love the director, I actually don't think he's a good fit.
I think he's a great fit, but I think so are other directors. I don't think he's a great fit if he has to listen to someone else, though.
Well, I just think if it has to exist in if it has to exist in a continuity, I don't think he's the right fit. If he decided that he was going to do an outside, a single source style
self-contained,
then I think he could do an interesting one, but not a continued series, because you'd hope that whoever next Bond is will get at least 4
or 5 movies, right? Yeah, that's why I suppose they're looking at an actor at this age range, where it's like they're old enough that it's not like a Tom Holland thing where it's like, look, you're too fucking young, but they're also young enough that it's like, well, we're going to get a good few years out of this.
You stretch you a bit.
You know what I mean? Because
I doubt it's going to be a period piece then.
No, probably not.
No.
I think they're dead set on always modernizing Bond.
Yeah, keep going.
I think so.
Do you think the tone of it is going to be so hard to kind of, obviously, we have nothing to go on, but
no,
the tone of Bond going forward, because I felt that so you had Connery kind of setting the template, then Lazenby, like you said, they haven't really figured it out at that point. That's more of an artsy director film. That's a director film, really, isn't it? That's not a Bond film. That's a director film.
Yeah, and to be fair to Lazenby, he doesn't do a terrible job at trying to pick up the torch after Connery is the first guy to do it. Yeah. And as someone with no acting experience, people have to remember that he was not an actor at all. He lied.
Yeah.
Well,
that's how good of an actor he
is. Then he did act, didn't he?
Well, he came clean, didn't he, at the final audition? And he said, "Look, I lied all. I'm not an actor." And they were like, "You could have fooled me, kid."
Yeah, it's like an actual spy.
Yeah, he infiltrated the auditions to get Bond.
Yeah. But like with more, then they're like, okay, let's get a little bit more fun with it, I guess. And then that got out of hand, so let's get a bit more serious with Dalton. And maybe that got a little too serious for them, so they were like, okay, we have to rein it back a bit with Brosnan. But then that got so fucking ridiculous, they're like, okay, now we have to go like realism with Craig.
Yeah.
But I mean, that almost did a reboot halfway through its life cycle.
Yes.
Where are they going to go now? I hope they don't go like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the future of Bond goes. And I think no matter who gets the role, it's going to be a fascinating thing. I'm sure plenty of people are going to be mad no matter who gets it too. And people had fan favorites of like, I want Henry Cavill or I want Idris Elba and stuff like that. And like, they're all great actors, but they're 10 years too late nearly to start this, I think.
Yeah.
Particularly Idris, who I think would have been an amazing Bond, but again, needed to do it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's just, you miss the train sometimes, and that's that. I imagine as well for Aaron Taylor Johnson, if he really has been offered the role but hasn't taken it yet, and some people might be wondering, it's like, well, what the fuck is he waiting for? Like, if you're offered Bond, but I'm sure there's a lot to consider, especially and you know, of these two roles, one is a more obvious one to prioritize. But he has signed on with Sony to play Craven, right? Not that he's like going to prefer playing Craven. He might be tied to a contract that he has to now figure out, how the fuck can I commit to both?
But is Bond?
How do I get out of this? Or how do I, you know?
Maybe I'm wrong here, but is Bond not under Sony? Not the license, but at least the studio. Is it not Columbia Pictures?
Oh, yeah.
I know it's MGM. That's about it.
Is that, yeah. Actually, maybe it is under Sony. I'm not sure, actually, on that one. But yeah,
I imagine that Craven thing is probably not going anywhere. I don't think there's going to be a series there.
No, I don't think so either.
And yes, perhaps there is. Maybe there is actually a contract that Sony has to like deliver.
Yeah,
on,
like but what I mean is,
we need to give this guy more roles.
I think it could be that, but I do think like behind the scenes, there's probably some figuring out to be done before any official thing can be
I
made.
don't think
That's
any actor has been jumping at the opportunity to become Bond. I don't think any of them had, actually. I think all of them have been
massive responsibility, though, right?
But also, it was kind of weird listening to some of the interviews of them that they kind of don't look at those roles as highly as we as the audience do.
It's interesting, isn't
like
it?
they don't think it's serious enough. Like as an actor, it's like there's not enough
Right.
in there. Basically, is kind of how they look at it. Like Craig felt that way.
They always see that at the beginning, and then they get into the role, and they seem to find they're like, oh, actually, like there is a, because like
and then 3 films in, they want to know.
Yeah, but there is a depth to Bond, and I do think there's a general audience as well that feel there isn't, but there is. Like he's a complicated character.
Yeah.
And yes, he's whimsical and fantastical and all this stuff as well, but he's also an alcoholic and a womanizer, and these are complicated traits to try and turn into a heroic character. And it's like, is he even a hero? He's kind of a anti-hero at best, but
Just
also a
glorify killing
fashionable
people.
role model. And yeah, like he is an interesting layered character, and he's not as simple as just he's just a guy who wears a suit and gets the girl.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, let us know what you think of this possible news that Aaron Taylor Johnson has been offered. Would you want him to take it? Would you be interested in him playing that role? And I think if you've seen him in like the popular stuff, like Marvel and Godzilla and things like this, it's worth looking at some of his other roles. I saw him in Nocturnal Animals as well.
He's a completely different dude in that.
He's a great actor, actually. He has a lot of range. He is so... you want to kill him in that movie. He's a horrible person in it. But it just shows that, like, if you go outside of, like, the popcorn flicks, like, he has done some really great... Like, he's actually a great ranged actor. And he's good looking, too. He's fit. He's got all the things that could make a Bond. So I wouldn't have thought of him, but I'm also not like, hell no. You know what I mean? You know, you could hear someone and you go, oh, fuck no. I don't have that.
Well, honestly, I was that way with Cavill, actually. I think
All right.
I don't think I was at all open to the idea of Cavill unless it was the period piece. I think
Okay, yeah.
I think he would suit that, but
He would.
and I think that is generally the go to, whether it's Bond or Batman, right? There's the who you want to play, which always seems like the obvious choice.
And then there's the who should play.
And then there's the who should
something.
play. And those people, those producers, they kind of know what they're doing, you know?
They kind of do. Like, we all have to admit, nobody would have ever picked Robert Pattinson to play Batman in a dark Matt Reeves
Yeah.
directed Batman movie. And we also all
Or
went,
Keaton.
hell no, when it was cast. And I don't think anyone who left the Batman, whether you liked the movie or not, I don't think anyone's complaint was Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
He was excellent.
And I like
So-
before Tim Burton's Keaton was,
Yeah,
no one
same
wanted
thing.
him to be.
He was
No?
a comedy actor, wasn't he, mainly?
Mainly, yep.
Yeah.
And Jack
Mr.
Nicholson was a
Mom.
comedy actor.
So yeah.
There's another
But anyway,
trailer. Not Batman. by the way.
Beetlejuice. Let's know what you thought of
Well,
that too.
actually,
I don't know
there's a
enough
trailer
about it, but-
for the Penguin TV show.
Oh shit! I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's out. That was shared with
gotta-
me, so check
gotta
that
watch that.
guy out.
Eric, I want to share something really quick that I think you'll like. Quick little gaming update. I got an email that I think will make you happy, huh? And it came from Larian Studios.
They're remaking Infinity Blade. Don't do this.
What the
because-
fuck? No. Pre-orders for the Baldur's Gate 3 it's a PC Deluxe Edition are now shipping, with console editions expected to begin shipping between April and May. This one, this part I thought was really interesting, right? Never mind fucking people going on about 7 Rebirth with its 2 discs. Those waiting for their Xbox version
It's 5.
will now receive 4 physical discs rather than the 3 originally planned, so that we can provide the full game as a physical copy, and then in brackets, yes, it is that big.
Yes, it is.
So that will
big.
be the next big adventure for me after Rebirth when that comes out, physically, because I've been, for those who don't know, I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet, and I've been holding out for the physical edition. So yeah,
That
looking
is
forward to
weird, though, isn't it? That it's
4 discs.
Yeah, I didn't realize. But that's only on Xbox.
Only on Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's
realize.
really
that,
interesting. Must be 2 at least on PS5 though, right?
Yeah.
That
Has
has
to
to be
be.
at least. It's a chunky boy
Yeah.
or girl, depending on.
But there's
where
also
they
so
down.
many, and it's not just the size of the game itself, but how many dialogue options and possibilities, and all. Like it has to factor in all those things, right? So it's like it's big in multitude of directions. Like it's not
Yes.
just big content wise. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
So-
actually, just one final point for me. Listen to some of the interviews on the creative directors with some of their choices.
yeah,
Is very interesting, because they're like, well, technically, if you can do this, then everyone can do this, and therefore that creates. There was one spell that they had. They're like, we had to leave it out because it actually would have just broke the game.
wow,
It's like,
wow.
all right.
I thought I read somewhere as well, and I thought it was interesting that they have confirmed that their next game will not be a follow up to Baldur's Gate.
No,
Which I think is super interesting, because that would be the obvious, like, oh, this game made a fuckload of money and got you loads of rewards, do more. I'm it's more interested to hear them say, we will not be doing that again. We'll be doing something totally different. That's
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
which yeah will pique everyone's interest because of the success of Baldur's Gate 3, and now they're doing something else.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So that's cool. That's cool. Was there anything else anyone wanted to talk about in this particular bonus before we wrap it up?
No, I'm still hung up on the fact that Xbox has that many discs. I don't understand.
Someone who can explain, please explain to
Yeah.
us, why does the Baldur's Gate 3 physical edition have 4 discs? What is that about? Do tell us.
But only on
Um,
Xbox.
But only on Xbox. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you jump down into the comments to explain why Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox has 4 discs. Or also, if you want to share your take on anything else we brought up in this bonus segment, what are your thoughts on the Alien Romulus teaser? Are you excited for that movie? And what do you think about Aaron Taylor Johnson possibly in the running for James Bond? Would you like to see it, or is there someone else that you would like to see? Do let us know. If you enjoyed this bonus, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell for more, because these happen randomly, sporadically, and in the spur of the moment. They're not weekly, but we also have our weekly podcast, so make sure you check that out too. If you enjoy, or if you listen to us on audio platforms, I should say, you can touch base with social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take again to give your take on everything we brought up in this week's bonus. Thank you so much for checking us out. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.